Hi Kishwa. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes before I start, just to give other people a chance to join, to log in. Hi Nicole. Hi Alison. Hope everybody else is doing okay. Oh, my computer's gone mad. Right, let me get this. Oh, there we go. So, no, Kishwara, a couple of days ago, end of last week, I had vertigo. So even lay on the floor, I felt like I was falling, which was horrid. And I've started with this really snuffly cold. My youngest son said earlier, the amount of times I've blown my nose and the amount of rubbish that's come out, I should have lost a stone by the end of the week. So here's hoping. We've got to look for the bright side of things. Right, so last week we did the covers. Did we? Yeah, we did. We did the covers and the hinge that I've put somewhere safe. Oh, there it is. It slid down. I had a bit of a craft lunch yesterday. I put something on top of something else, and the whole thing, it's like one of those Tom and Jerry cartoons where one thing falls over, that knocks something else, that knocks something else, that knocks something else. And I've just put it all in a box, and I will have a look and go through it all later, because I really didn't feel like going through it this morning. So last week we made our pages. Not a great thing to see because they're all black. And then we did the front of page 1, which, if you remember, has wrong size. It's got a photo pocket there, photo mat pocket, room for photograph there, and again you've got room for a photo mat at the top. So now we're going to work on the back of page 1. So if you remember from the book, that's our first page. So the back of page 1, we have a flap at the top and then a pocket to put your photo mat in. So move that out of the way. I've decided I am being this ill today. I'm going to be ill tomorrow. I'm going to stay in bed all day and get rid of it in time for going down to Stafford on Friday and our 2-day crop at weekend, especially because I've noticed Lily's making cookies. So yeah, I am determined I am not going to take this into the weekend with me. So for the back, we need a pocket. So we're going to cut this at 7 inches by 3 inches. So that's our 3 inch. And let's trim that down to 7 inches. And my son laughed at me earlier because this pencil is from the retreat that wasn't the retreat in 2020, the COVID years, and I think it's kind of coming to the end of its useful life, but it's still going. So excuse me, I will keep stopping because I do need to keep drinking, but it is only, I'm not being rude, it is only juice. So there's our pocket, and for our top flap we need to cut one at 6 inches, which is the width of our book, by 4.5 inches. So that's 6 inches, so 4.5 is here. No, it's not. I can't add up. So it's 4.5 inches by 6. Okay. Little bits of your cardstock like this. Anything, don't keep on that. I may keep because if I'm die cutting letters, then you can, rather than getting a big sheet of cardstock and cutting into it, you can just die cut letters out of that. Or I was going to say flowers, but I don't think I really want black flowers. So for our pocket, we're going to score on the long 7-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 6.5 inches. Then we're going to spin that round and score at 1/2 inch on the 3-inch side. Try and keep it as straight as I can. And then on the top flap, we're just going to turn it round, and on the 4.5 inch side we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So get my scissors. On the pocket, I'm just going to miter those corners. Oops. And then I'm just going to burnish them both down. So I'm looking for my bone fold. I had 3 out earlier. I can only find 1. So just burnish that down. There we go. Hi Wenche. Hi Nicole. It is what it is. It's that time of year, but do you know what? The sun was shining today, so I really don't mind. So make sure you've got your page the right way up. Turn it over. And then we're just going to, oops, get your glue and pop your glue on your folded over bits. And then we're just going to line that up at the bottom of the page and hold it in place till that glue grabs. Yeah, I did have a clear out the other week and I kept pieces down to about 1 inch square, and if it was a nice bright colour it would have been great for die cutting flowers and things, but yeah, black flowers aren't really my thing. So line your flap up at the top and oops, just hold that in place. Nicole, apart from the last 2 days where we've had sunshine, I think we've had grey skies probably since the 1st of January. We might have had 1 day where it was sunny in the morning but cold. Other than that, we've had grey skies every day. So back of page 1, we've got our pocket at the bottom and our flap at the top. Easy, you all know how to do that. It's quite straightforward, and let's face it, we're crafters, we can do, female and crafters, we can do anything. So front of page 3 to start with, we have 2 flaps on it, the left hand flap and the right hand flap. Once we've put those flaps on, we're going to put the pocket on the bottom, and then oops, on the front of the left hand flap we've got a large deep pocket on here, and then on the right hand flap we've got a belly band, so we can just put a photo booklet within there. So we need to cut the left hand flap first. Evening, Diana. Have you still got snow? Evening, Christelle. Oh, Christelle, did I answer your question that you put in the group? Was it the instructions that you were after rather than the description? I think something got lost in translation, so hopefully that's answered it for you. If it hasn't, drop me another message in the group and I'll see what I can do for you. So left hand flap, we're going to cut 1. Now 6 inches is the height of our book, but we're going to do the flap. We want the flap to be 4.5 inches on the front, so we then add 1/2 inch on for our, to be able to stick it down, and then we're going to add another 1/8 of an inch on, because it's got a pocket underneath it. I need to put a small gusset on it, then it doesn't get too fat and not be able to close. So that's our left hand flap. So again, the 6 inches is the height, so we need to score on the 5 1/8 of an inch at 1/2 inch, and at 1/8 of an inch, which is just the next one across. Okay, it's not showing up very well on here. I'll see if it will. My white pencil's not playing today either. So there, we've got our 2 score lines. And then, okay, where's my score tool? So I'm going to fold those over and burnish them down really well so that they sit nicely on our page, and then fold over on the other score line. Like that. So make sure we've got our page the right way up. So this left hand flap is going to go on here. So I'm going to put some glue on, line it up, top and bottom, make sure it's straight, open that up and give that a good 10 degrees, good grief. I think we've been up to about 14 today. So that's our left hand flap. Then the right hand flap, oh, excuse me, oops, I seem to appear to have pocket on the page. Oh yeah, there we are. So we're going to cut this at 6 inches by 6 3/4. So there's our 6 inch mark. Which is our width. So that's the height of the page. And then we're going to cut this one at 6 3/4 inches. And again, that's so we have so we've got our 6 inch, which is the height of the page, 6 inches, which is the width, and then we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to score it at 3/4 inch. So that gives us a slightly bigger gusset on this side for the other flap to fold into. So again, just find our creases, fold them over and burnish them down. And again, so burnish both of them down, and then I'm just going to line that up and pop it on that side. So pop our glue on. I'm going to line that up. Pop that in place and burnish it down well. Make sure it's all straight. And then we're going to open that up again. So that one folds over and that one goes over the top. We're now going to put, excuse me, pocket along the bottom. Now our pocket, we're going to cut one at 3 inches by 7 inches. Now this is just going to be your normal U-shaped pocket, just a standard simple pocket that we all know how to do quite easily. Watch me do it wrong now. So again, on the long 7-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 6 3/4 inch. Spin it round and we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 3-inch side. And then I'm just going to miter these corners. And fold the creases over, burnish it down, and on both the sides. And then this is going to sit just at the bottom of this page. And don't forget, because you've got your gussets, it's going to fold quite nicely. So pop this on. Line it up at the bottom. Make sure it's centralised. So you can see when that folds over, even if you've got the bulk of your pocket and your photo mats, you've got your pocket, your photo mats, you've still got room for that to fold over, and then that one to fold over the top. So what we're going to do now is the pocket for the front of here. So stand that up. Now for this one, we're going to cut one at 6 inches by 5 inches. So if we go to the 5-inch mark, and then I'm going to cut that down to 6 inches. Okay, now this is going to be a vertical pocket, so on the 5-inch side, we're going to we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 4.5 inches. And then we're going to spin it round, and on the 6-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And I've just noticed a typo on the instructions. Let me write this down. And 4.5. I'll update that and pop it in the group later on. So we're just going to miter our corners off again. Oops. I'm going to burnish this down. And fold these over. And that one. So this is now going to go the wrong way. Oh, don't craft when you're... I'm going to start that again because that's 4, that should be 5. 4.5. So that should actually be it is right, I've just cut it too large, so that should be 4.5. And then score at 1/2 inch and 4 inches on that side. Still not right. Right, we're just going to start again with that one because so it should be that's 4.5 inches, 5.5. Don't write instructions when you're full of a cold, ladies. So 5.5 by 5.5. And then do a simple U-shaped pocket. So we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5 inches. Oops. And then we're going to spin it round and score at 1/2 inch again. So I'm just going to miter those corners. If you're watching this on replay on YouTube, I'm really sorry. But if you've bought one of the kits, you'll have plenty of card, and I'll just use that as one of the photo mats later. So just fold these over and burnish them down. So you can now see that that just fits on the front of the left hand flap. Show you, it just goes like that. And I'll show you how to do the photo mat in a second. So pop your glue on. And like I said, line it up. And burnish that down. So that's our left hand flap done now. You can see your photo mat will just slot in there for you. Now, for the right hand side, we just need a belly band to go on the front of here. Now, if you get one of your offcuts from earlier, we had one that was about 1.5 inches. So we need to cut this down to 1.5 inches wide. Just line that up. And then we need it to be 7 inches in length. So that's the 6 inches, which is the height of the page. And then 1/2 inch top and bottom, so that you've got something to stick it onto your page with. So again, we're just going to get on the long side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and at 1/2 inch from the other end, which was 6.5 inches. So we're just going to burnish that down, fold it over and burnish it again. So again, check our pockets the right way, our page is the right way up. Now for this one, you can, if you wish, measure it from either side, or you can do it by eye. It's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to pop some glue on, top and bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line my ruler up at the bottom, and I know that is the middle. So look for the middle of my belly band and line it up and hold that in place whilst the glue grabs, and then just let it fall, rest, and then hold the top in place again till the glue grabs. So you can see here that will just slide in between. So for this, we now need a photo mat for the back pocket. So for that, we're going to cut one at 5 by 5 inches. So that's 5 inches by 5 inches, and that will just slide into your pocket like that. And then for this one here, excuse me, we need to cut one at 5.5 inches. So line that up, 5.5 inches, and then we're going to cut this at 11 inches in length. And then we're going to score it halfway long. So you all know half of 11, she says, is 5.5. Fold that over. Oops. There we go. And just burnish that down. And that will then slide under the belly band like that. Okay. So we've done that one, we've done that one. Now we need to do this one. So for that one, we need to cut one at 4¼ inches by 11. So we're going to score it at 4¼ and then 11 inches. And again, we're going to score this at 5½ inches, which again is half of your 11. Fold that over and finish it down. And that's going to go inside this pocket here. So again, just because I've not put the papers on yet, you've got a fold out pocket there, so you can put 4 photos on there. You've got a photo mat there, and you've got a square photo mat there. So on the back of this is a stacked pocket. So oops, for this, turn that over. We need to cut one at 7 inches by 2¾ So that's our 7-inch mark. And then we're trimming this down to 2¾ and this is where some of your offcuts that you've done from earlier cuts on your card will come into play now. So that's the first one, and then the next pocket we're going to cut again down to 7 inches. And this one is going to be at 3 inches. So get our scoreboard out again. So with the smaller one, the first one we cut, we're going to score on the 7-inch side at ½ inch and at 6½ inches, and then we're going to spin it around. Oops, something's fell over. And on the 2¾ inch side we're going to score at ½ inch. Then we're going to miter those corners again. Just get rid of all that bulk from the corner so it doesn't makes your book sit flatter and look nicer. Pop those away. And then with the larger piece, the 3-inch piece, we're going to score at ½ inch. and at 6.5 inches. And we're going to spin that round, and on the 3-inch side we're going to score at 1 inch. So our first one, our first pocket, we have cut, we've mited our corners as normal to get a nice crease. So I'm going to fold that over and burnish that down, and again on the sides. Oops. Like that. So that's our first pocket of our stacked pockets. Make sure I've got this the right way up. So this one is just going to sit excuse me, on here. And that's just going to sit right at the bottom. And like I say, just hold that in place so that the glue grabs. And I'm just going to pop that there so you can see what we're doing next. Now on your next piece, your score line is 1 inch up. So what we want to do, like you normally mitre your corner, like that, as normal. And then instead of twisting your scissors that way, turn them so it looks like a pair of Y fronts. So again, we're just going to fold that up there, or even cut it. So you're cutting a longer sliver off the side. Now with this one, we're just going to fold the side sections in. Like that. Now this bottom bit here, we're going to slide into this pocket up to the score line. So you can see there, that's the score line and that's the top of the pocket. Okay, so I'm going to move that out of the way, then I don't end up with glue on the wrong pieces. Pop some glue on here and on this side. So this section is just a guide for you to slide this in, and that tells you, get it straight, and that gives you your second stacked pocket. So as you can see, you've got moved, you've got a stacked pocket here at the back, like that, and you've also got a stacked pocket at the bottom there. So you could put anything up to sort of 5.5 inches in height in this one, and then a smaller photo mat in the bottom. So does that make sense about cutting the second pocket in like a Y shape? It's the only way I can really explain it. So now we need a photo mat for the top pocket and a photo mat for the bottom pocket. So the top pocket, we're going to cut this one at 5.5 by 5.5. So I'll just hold that in place. So that's 5.5 by 5.5. And then for the smaller pocket, we're going to cut one at 5 by 4 inches. So we're going to do that at 4 inches. By 5 inches. So if I just pop that there, you'll be able to see your 5.5 inch square photo mat goes in the back one, and then your 5 by 4 inch photo mat just slides in the bottom pocket like that. So you will be able to see your two photo mats. Let me just put my lid on my glue. Ooh, enjoy wherever you're off to, Diana. Have a good afternoon to you. I think it is now. Or is it? Yeah, I think it's afternoon for you now. So have a good day, whatever you're doing. Just move these out of the way. So now we have our, I'm going to show you on the decorated one. So we have our front page with a pocket on and a photo mat that slides in there. We have a left flap as well as a right flap. We have a pocket here with, again, another photo mat. Turn that over. On the back of page 1, we've got a lift up flap at the top and a pocket at the bottom that we've got another square photo mat in there. I've not decorated this because I've not decided what photos I'm going to use, and a lot of this paper is a bit directional, so I didn't want to put something up the side to then decide that I wanted it landscape and the pictures were off, so just leave that for now. And you've got your top. Then on page 2 we've got our photo booklet, our belly band. You open that up, and on your left hand flap you've got a deep pocket with a large photo mat flap there. And you've got your pocket there with another photo mat there. Oops. Fold that over and we've got our stacked pocket with 2 photo mats, one in each of the pockets. Now, we've actually managed to get a little bit further than I thought we would tonight. So I've not actually got the instructions up for the front of page 3. But this is just a page with 2 flaps on. This isn't a pocket, it's just I've put the photo mat on and then used some of the paper at the bottom. So I will put the instructions up later. Whoops. So this is just 2 flaps that we need, one for the left hand side and one for the right hand side. Excuse me. So obviously they're going to be 6 inches in height because that's the height of our book. So we need to cut one at 6 inches by 4 inches. So we've got that off cut from before. So trim that down to the 4 inches. Mark where the 6 is. And trim that off. And then the right hand flap, we're going to we're going to cut at 5 inches by 6 inches and pop our offcuts in the bin. So on the left hand side, and I've just realised that the video's frozen again. There we go. So on the 4 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And on the right hand side, on the 5 inch width, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Now I don't need to put any gussets in this because we've no pocket underneath it. There's not going to be the added bulk. So make sure I've got my page. So again, we're just going to fold this over and burnish these down for our hinges. So that's going to go on that side and that one on that side. So that's going to go like that. So if I pop the glue on, and line it up at that side, make sure it's straight and burnish that down. And then do exactly the same on the other side. And again, just line that up. And burnish that down. And we've got our 2 flaps on that page. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there for now because I think I'm going to go and get a hot drink and go to bed. So I will put the next lot of instructions up in the group, possibly tomorrow now. If anybody's actually making along and making the book, then it would be great to see your pictures. Pop your pictures in the group, see what other papers are being used. So yeah, if you are making along, you can decorate your pages now. I will leave mine and do them at the end. I just wanted to get this sorted for you, and I will be here next Wednesday, hopefully without a cold. So yeah, I would love to see all your pictures in the group, just to see what papers are being used, what collections. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a lovely weekend. I am hoping to have a lovely weekend, crafting all day Saturday till late and all day Sunday. So take care everyone, and I will see you all next week here in group. Bye.